On today's video from the North East and Yorkshire Business Network, we're talking about the spirit of innovation in businesses in our region. Samuel Harrison is the co-founder and managing director of Animmersion, which is a highly inventive and well-established digital tech firm based in Middlesbrough. It's an immersive technology company using 3D animation, virtual reality and augmented reality to help companies. Not every North East business is as innovative as Animmersion, as Nicola Bellaby, the tax partner at Clive Owen, will reveal when we discuss R&D tax relief. But first, Samuel Harrison. Samuel, thank you for joining us. Tell us about Animmersion for those who don't know it. What does it actually devise and deliver?
Okay, well, we set up in 2006 really with an aim to take some of the techniques and methodologies from the entertainment sector and apply them for business in different ways. What that means in most cases is that we're creating digital visualizations, taking complicated subject matter or large ranges of products and presenting them in ways that an audience will understand without any technical background. That usually manifests in us creating animations, interactive online content featuring lots of visuals, and then often virtual reality or augmented reality for more complex or challenging requirements.
I remember going to your offices in Middlesbrough once and putting a virtual reality headset on and learning how to operate a high-level crane. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. You've got a new product now, virtual interactive events. What's that product?
Well, really what that was about was recognizing that there's a gap that's opened up in terms of events being cancelled. And there's been a lot of use of, for example, video conferencing and online virtual meetings in that context. But we wanted to make sure that actually for our customers, some of the other value that's delivered through physical trade show stands and product demonstrations was still available. So what we've been doing there in the early days of that's simply recreating a virtual trade show stand, making that available online so that people can have a walk around that in 3D and essentially have the same engagement in terms of finding out about products, examining them, etc. And then using that to drive a conversation around or with representatives that are manning that stand virtually.
I suppose people might be used to that kind of technology maybe when they're ordering a new car and you have the build it online pages on the internet. But this is applying it much more extensively.
Absolutely, yes. We use similar resources actually to the car industry as well. So we can take the CAD data of our customers and turn those into examinable products online. We can then turn that into other content too. So we can deliver that through the various different channels, whether that's animation that you want to get onto YouTube, or whether you're wanting one-to-one product demonstrations. There's huge potential with digital technology in this space.
Samuel, we're about to talk to Nicola from Clive Owen LLP Accountants, but before we do, she's going to talk about R&D tax credits. What have you used as a business owner to help you innovate in this way?
Well, we do make use of R&D tax credits, have done for quite a number of years now. I'd certainly encourage anyone in the software development space to seriously consider that. We were also lucky enough to win a grant from Innovate UK earlier in the year, specifically around our VIE platform. And so it's also worth looking at those other organizations and institutions out there that are helping our sector and others in technical ways to get some of these new ideas off the ground.
Well, let's bring in Nicola now. Nicola, that is a real story of innovation, and you can obviously see that Samuel's taken advantage of the R&D tax regime. I suppose he's a good example of what you want more businesses to do.
Oh, definitely, because in the North East, we're actually lagging behind the rest of the country. There's a lot more claims in the South East and London, and I think people up here, they either haven't heard of it or they think it's too good to be true.
Well, let's have a look at that data. Let's flash that data on screen and see what... Oh, my goodness. There's London and there's the North East. So these are the number of claims per business, are they?
Yeah, yes. So you can... You know, it's like Samuel. There's a lot of businesses around here. Whether whether they're doing similar things to Samuel in the IT sector, or if they're in engineering or manufacturing. I think particularly engineers and manufacturers, they think it's their normal job to try and get over these uncertainties and work out new ways of doing it, and they don't see it as something that they might be able to claim tax relief on, because it's just the day job.
Now, let's try and bring it into reality. Tax relief is a sort of, it's a cliche, you get a bit of tax relief. The politicians like to talk about tax relief for this and tax relief for that. How does it work in practice, though? What is R&D for tax purposes? What's the easy definition?
Well, there's two different types of R&D. There's SME, which is for small and medium enterprises, and there's also something called RDEC, which is for companies that are also receiving grants, or for larger companies. And basically what it means is we treat it as if we've spent extra money than we actually have. So we can look at a project, for example, like Samuel's project, and see what costs have gone into that project. So they might have been buying software. A lot of the costs are actually employees that are already there. So for example, using Samuel again, so looking at his business, he might have done some R&D himself. He might have software designers, and he would look and see what percentage of their time was spent on R&D projects. Okay. And then if we did an SME claim, we would add that to any consumable costs, reimburse travel expenses, and some heat and light in certain businesses. That's maybe more sort of a factory environment, and we multiply that number up by 130%, and we treat it as if we've spent that extra money.
Is that what you were able to do, Samuel? Can you remember?
Well, I don't get involved in the detailed accounting of it, but it's broadly along those lines. Yeah, it's mostly around our technical team in the majority, but there are other areas where other members of the team are contributing in different ways.
Of course, when we look at Samuel's products and discuss them, they're all technical and so on. What about more conventional businesses? Maybe a white-collar business. Could a white-collar business ever make an R&D claim?
Sometimes, if they're creating new systems, some kind of computer system, something like that. It is more usual in a business like Samuel's, or like I said, the engineers type businesses, but it doesn't have to be somebody in a white coat doing this R&D.
Are there numbers that you can start at as a trivial project? If it's a very small business, is it worthwhile claiming an R&D tax credit for a few £1,000s, or is it got to be the big stuff?
Yeah, and smaller companies can actually do it themselves, so they can contact the revenue and get what's called like a pre-clearance. They can say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm spending, and get it rubber stamped before it goes in. That's quite rare, because I think people are a bit nervous about doing that, so they'll often come to an accountant. But we can, we make our reports accordingly, because we have to write up what that client's doing, and we write the reports according to how much work they're doing. So if Samuel's project was a really large one, you would write quite a long report and detailed, and you would have to explain what the project involved, what the technical uncertainties was, and how Samuel went about and the team went about working out how to resolve those uncertainties. And they might never be resolved, and actually that's something people find strange, is that a failed project can also count towards an R&D claim. In fact, it's really what we're really saying is it wasn't easy. We couldn't find a solution, so it is R&D, because we couldn't just go and look it up on Google or in a book or something.
Samuel, what's your view for other colleagues in business? Would you recommend exploring R&D tax credits?
I certainly would. Yeah, particularly if you're. Well, I think even in the cases, as we've found, when we're delivering commercial projects for customers, but that have a level of risk, there's some interesting angles in that respect as well. So it's certainly worth speaking to somebody about what you do in your business across the board, in order to identify whether or not there is an opportunity. And I think in many cases you'll find that there is.
Thank you very much.